show, and because they'll do a show based on a manga, and the anime will go into production, but the manga isn't done. So the anime has to sort of make up an ending that's different, that usually almost always is different from what the manga, where the manga ends up going. And then they decide, let's do it again, and we'll call it Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And you know, and certainly that's what happened with Hellsing. You know, we did the original TV series. The character of Incognito, who is the main villain in the TV series of Hellsing, totally doesn't really exist in the manga. And so when the manga finally got finished, they said, hey, maybe we should make the anime follow the story of the manga. I don't know, crazy. And so what's interesting from an actor's perspective doing that is that once you do a show, you've done 13 episodes of a show like Hellsing, and when you get done with the show, you think to yourself, now I know how to play that character, because you've spent so much time sort of marinating in it. And you think, oh, if I had this to do over again, quick, let's start from the beginning again. I've got it now, right? And you almost never get a chance to do that. You almost never get a chance to go back and revisit the character. Until Hellsing Ultimate comes along. And I go, oh, I get to do it again, you know? Then there's an excitement because I go, ooh, I get to do it again, and I've learned so much more about the character that I can add into my performance now. The challenge then is, the story is different. And story, plot, and character are not separate. They are interconnected. You don't know something about someone's character until you see them do something. It is the actions they take during the plot that help define their character. So if the plot is different, the character is different. And so I have to be very careful in Hellsing Ultimate that I'm not just doing what I maybe thought I should have done in the TV series, or that I have any preconceptions about how I should play Alucard. Obviously, he has the same overall agenda. He hasn't turned into a rabbit, you know, or like a teddy bear or something. You know, he's still nasty, vicious vampire. But there are in the very first episode, something different happens, which is when he takes the police girl and makes her a vampire. In the TV series, it just sort of happens, and Integra goes, "What is she doing?" And Alucard says, "She made the choice for herself." And Integra goes, "It's time for us to leave." And it's sort of fussy and bang, right? In the OVA, it's different. In the OVA, she goes, "Why did you do that?" That question is never asked in the TV series. So Integra looks at Alucard and goes, "Why did you do that? You've never done that before." And out of Alucard comes this thing of, I don't know, I guess it was just a sense of whimsy. Whimsy? Whimsical Alucard? Where is this coming from, right? Like, it's a completely, so now we have a different facet to the character that we've never had before. One of those new facets was the Romanian accent. When we were first doing the TV series, we were trying, the director, voice director Taliesin, had a very tough time casting Alucard. The reason being is that he wanted someone who could be incredibly vicious. But usually the actors he got who were that vicious were sort of sneaky, slimy guys, like Grima Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings, you know? They were vicious, but they didn't have any weight, they didn't have any power. And then when he would have guys with big, deep voices, they sounded big and deep and sort of hulkish. And they didn't sound vicious, they didn't have that nasty edge to them. And so he couldn't quite figure it out. And so I was auditioning for him, and he goes, "What do you think Alucard is about?" I said, "This is what I think Alucard is about." And he said, "You sick bastard." And so he cast me, and then we started playing with different accents, because he's supposed to be in England, right? And so we thought, well, maybe you should have a British accent. So we tried it, and it just didn't sound right. It sounded weak somehow. And then we said, well, he's Transylvanian. Let's give him a Transylvanian accent. And it sounded so Bela Lugosi that that didn't work either. And so we went, you know what? Just straightforward, neutral American. Let's just try that. And that's what we went with. And that seems to have worked the best. But through the whole thing, I was like, "Please, can I do my Transylvanian accent, please? Please? Can you do that, please? Can I do this?" And, you know, and finally we got to the OVA, and Taliesin was like, "Crispin?" I'm like, "Yeah, Transylvanian." So that was very satisfying to finally whip out the Carpathian Mountains, you know?
Because you get a lot of bad girls whenever.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, and that scene where he comes back and he actually is Vlad, the Impaler, and he's in his armor, and police goes like, Master? Mustache? You know, and he's like petting her, and I'm like, oh, I was sweating bullets on that scene. I was like, Talis, we have to get this just right, because it has to be sort of tender and everything. And so yeah, very, very important to me. Yes, ma'am, in the pink.